Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you are well. Nice to see you. So, I'm recording this on Saturday evening. There's a party downstairs. Maybe you might hear it, maybe you might not. I don't know. But I thought I'd do it before I go to bed, so I don't have to get up super early and do that and just get on with Tai Chi and stuff tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to be filming this through Zoom today, which is probably going to cause me some issues because I'm not sure if I like it. But I desperately wanted to show you an image today because I think the image really articulates what I'm trying to explain here. So it's something quite complicated I'm talking about, and I'm going to try and do it as simply as possible. So essentially, this is the crux of my thesis, right? This is the heart of like my idea of Mesotopian logic, or how we live in this middle place and how we make meaning through our mind, our body, and our environment working together. So this blog post I've written today, ooh, okay, I can't minimize it. Uh, get out of the way. Ah, there you go. So it's called Introducing the Mesotopian Event. I want to begin in the present moment because that is where the Mesotopian event lives, not as an abstract idea floating above experience, and not as a fixed material fact beneath it, but as something that happens when I meet an object and realize that meaning is being made with me, not simply handed to me. The Mesotopian event is my attempt to describe that fleeting, charged instant of encounter, the moment when thought, sensation, intuition, and language briefly cohabit the same room. Just going to interject there. For those of you who haven't been following my blogs or my thesis, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to articulate that moment of cognition or realization, I suppose, where we meet or encounter some kind of sensation through the body, and then we identify it and then try to make meaning from it. All right. So it's that kind of interplay there between our mind and our body, and how does that actual process work? In my 2025 thesis, Mesotopia, Towards a Place of Lyrical Inquiry, I draw heavily on Graham Harman's concept of the quadruple object. Harman suggests that any object, whether a stone, a poem, or a political idea, is held together by four poles: the real object, RO, the real quality, RQ, the sensual object, SO, and the sensual quality, SQ. These poles do not collapse into one another. Instead, they are sustained by four tensions: time, space, essence, and eidos. For Harman, all objects, human and other than human alike, encounter one another through these tensions. Now, I'm just going to try and interject here and bring up this picture of the Mesotopian object. So let's see if you can, I can share the screen with that, because I think that's really important for you to see. And I'll just quickly talk through that. Okay, so hopefully you can now see this on your screen. And it might be, my face might be blocking a bit of it on the video. I don't know, but we'll give it a go anyway. So as you can see here, I'm going to gesture to the first image on the left here. And this is how I think an object is sustained, right? And I'm using Graham Harman's model here and building upon it to make the Mesotopian event. But Harman states really that each object has kind of these four qualities or components or aspects of it, poles, if you like, which are sustained through four tensions. All right. And as you can see there, I've divided to help you on this diagram. You've got the withdrawn aspect and the present aspect, right? Now, what I mean by that is the withdrawn aspect of an object, according to Harman, and I would agree that's certainly what I found from my experience of doing my research. This withdrawn aspect is something that you can never encounter. All right. So absolutely every object or thing you encounter through your senses, okay, there is an element or aspect of it, what Harman calls the real object and its real qualities. These things remain mysteries to us, right? So we exist in partial revelation, right? I can look at the sun, for example. There's a good one. I will never know absolutely everything about the sun through my senses. It is impossible for me to know everything about the sun, right? I just see light, bright, rising, falling, right? These are qualities that I encounter. Now, these qualities that I encounter through my senses, in this case, something like my eyes, but it could be through all of your senses, right? I could feel the warmth on my skin, for example, right? Now, Harman calls these the sensual quality and the sensual object, right? So I never encounter the real sun, right? I encounter the sensual sun, right? The sun as it is mediated to me through my senses, right? Hopefully that helps make sense. And then I encounter that through these qualities. I encounter warmth, light, color, uh, or sound, or whatever object it is that I'm encountering. Hard, soft, these are the qualities I encounter. And in that particular moment, I run that through my brain, really, all that sensory information comes up through my nervous system. It goes to my brain, and my brain kind of puts it through this process where it goes kind of warm, light, bright, don't look at it, warm on skin, sun. So then what happens is in my inner mind or your psyche, I suppose, you cultivate the image of the sun, and that becomes the object that you interact with. You don't interact with the real sun because you would vaporize, right? We will not reach the real sun ever. It always eludes our grasp. And then that's the same for absolutely every object, right? Including human beings. You could know someone for your entire life, but you won't know absolutely every aspect of them, right? You could be a doctor and you could cut a person apart. That doesn't tell you necessarily anything more about that person or the totality of that human being and that experience. So this is why we say we live in a moment of partial revelation. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing there and go back to the blog. Okay, so a key insight for me is this. Objects endure precisely because they withdraw. Their essence is never fully accessible. I can touch a limpet, describe it, argue with it, write about it, but something always escapes me. This is not a failure of perception. It is the very condition that makes meaning possible. Essence, then, names the tension between the real object and its real qualities, both of which remain partially withheld during any encounter. Time emerges as the tension between the sensual object and its sensual qualities. I know, for example, that a limpet has lived longer because its shell is rougher than the smoother shells of younger limpets. Space, meanwhile, is the tension between the sensual object and its real qualities. It is not the distance between objects, but the gap between the limpet as I encounter it and the real qualities that make it a limpet at all. I interpret eidos as something closer to intuition, the felt sense that arises as I try to conceive the real object through the sensual qualities available to me. I encounter a rough, conical shell and intuit the older limpet recoiling from my touch within. Okay, I'm just going to interject there, go back and share this image just to because there's probably quite a lot to unpack there, but I think it's worthwhile describing that. So let's go with that, bring that up. Hopefully You can see that again. Right. So as you can see, we have our two, I'm still focusing on the one here, should be on the left hand of your screen, right? So you've got here the withdrawn element, you've got the real object and its real qualities that always remain withdrawn. And you've got the sensual object and its sensual qualities, which are presented to me through the senses. All right. And those four lines that hold them in place, that's time, space, essence, and eidos. Now, essence, the essence of an object is the tension between the real object itself and its real qualities, like those qualities that are essential for it to remain what it is, right? And we don't always know what these are, right? Because we're kind of constantly guessing as we're going through life, right? This is what I've noticed. I don't like the word guessing. It's intuition, but you could say it's like educated guesswork, right? So you've got here, so that's the essence of the thing. And the essence of the object is always withdrawn from our understanding. In the present there, between the sensual quality and the sensual object, you've got time. Time holds those two things together. Now, that's really interesting because probably most Western materialists and most people seem to think of or view time as like something out there that we're all passing through, right? I don't experience that. And particularly when I was doing my research, using kind of psy-omatics, which is the interplay between mind and body. Actually, what I encounter time to be is a physical sensation when I meet something. I register time by looking at where the sun is in the sky, right? That's how I register time passing. I just see that the sun is in different parts of the sky, right? Or I meet a rough limpet, as I said, and a smooth limpet, and my sense of time comes from the fact that maybe that rough limpet is older because it's bigger and rougher. So my sense of time between the two limpets comes from the sensation of rough and smooth. Not external to me. It's me meeting that object itself, and that's how I perceive of time. And I think that's something to quite hold on to and grasp here, because that's really central to understanding what the meaning is. In addition to that, we also have essence and eidos, and we have space and eidos, right? Now, space is the distance between the sensual object and its real qualities. So it's the distance between what are the qualities that actually make this thing the real object. Okay, so which of the what's the qualities of the sensual object that denote its real qualities? And I never really get to that. I always try and guess, right? That's what space is. It's not a physical distance between things. It's a distance between a physical and conceptual distance, right? So I register space by having the image of something or the sensual image in my mind and the distance between that and the real quality itself, right? So I could have in my mind like the sun, right? That's the sensual object. Space is the distance between my idea of the sun and how I experience the sun as warmth, bright, those kind of things, and the actual real object itself, right? And the real qualities, which is like nuclear explosions and eviscerations and all these kind of things, right? So actually, that's what space is. So I think it's quite interesting to rethink these ideas of time and space, and how our physical being encounters these things very differently from the models external to those meetings that I think govern most of our interactions or our existence or our understanding, or at least that's what's taught on a very basic level. Then, of course, you have this really tricky one, which is like the intuition. And that's kind of like I sort of get a sensual quality, and like I'm trying to guess using this intuition, this guesswork, this eidos, this kind of educated guess to try and find out what that real object is from the things that I encounter. I encounter warmth, I encounter brightness. And so I'm thinking, that intuition is like, well, there must be something big, hot, and warm out there, right? So that's it. I'm trying to guess what the sun is from my physical sensory perceptions or understandings of it. Okay, so hopefully that kind of really puts that into perspective now. And as we move into the Mesotopian itself here, while I've got this up, I'll just explain that to you. What happens is, I argue, is when we encounter things and we're trying to make meaning, what happens is that we turn those things through intuition and space. These are the crucial parts of meaning making, right? The distance between what we encounter and the real object, right? And also our intuition of that distance, our guesswork. That's what we're moving through when we're trying to make meaning. We don't move through time, and we'll never understand the essence of things because that's always withdrawn. And time doesn't really move in that particular moment because we're talking about the exact moment, right, when we encounter something and when we meet something. So time doesn't change, right? We're actually kind of in that precise moment when we go hot, ow, and then something in our head goes sun, right? And so that's the moment we're talking about. So I'm saying we're turning through these tensions of space and intuition. We're guessing at what that thing is constantly in order to make meaning. And that is the moment that I have called the Mesotopian event. Right, so I'm going to just stop sharing that and then go back to the blog because I think that's important. The diagram for my thesis helps to clarify this. The four poles are held apart with certain relations fixed and others activated. The dashed lines mark moments of tension and movement. The Mesotopian event occurs along these lines, where space and eidos interact while time and essence quietly hold their ground. The Mesotopian event happens when I consciously step into this condition. During such an encounter, two tensions remain fixed. Time is fixed because the encounter happens now, not in memory, not in projection, but in the present moment of attention. Essence is fixed because it remains withdrawn. No amount of cleverness will prise it open. It stays put, stubborn and generative. What does move are space and eidos. I turn the sensual object, the object as it appears to me, through its sensual qualities. I attend to texture, rhythm, tone, association, metaphor. I let intuition lead rather than command. This turning is not analytical in the conventional sense. It is exploratory, almost playful. I'm guessing at the object's withheld essence, fully aware that I will never arrive and that this is precisely the point. I describe Mesotopia as a place between conceptual and physical terrains. In that in-between space, encounters with objects reveal multiple agents of causation. Meaning is no longer a straight line from subject to object. Instead, it becomes something composed, situated, and contingent. Ultimately, the Mesotopian event is an ethics of attention. It asks me to slow down, to resist the urge to dominate experience with explanation, and to trust that which withdraws is just as important as what appears. Meaning, in this view, is not something I extract from the world. It is something that happens between us, briefly, beautifully, and never quite the same way twice. As always, miath ka. So if you hit a like, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. If you want to leave a comment, I can explain that in more detail because I understand there's quite a lot going on here, but I look forward to hearing some of your comments. Thank you very much. Miath ka. Bye-bye.